Good morning. Today I'm in the Lake District. I'm at Buttermere and Crummock Water, but I'm not going to be shooting any colour images today. They're all going to be shots that are going to end up being in black and white. It's due to be a very cloudy day today, so that's pretty much ideal for shooting black and white. So the aim of this video is to show you how I visualise a scene, how I pick subjects. They're going to be ideal for a black and white conversion later on. So this morning I'm set up here at Crummock Water. I've got this nice boat here moored in the foreground. It's what you're balanced on actually, so be careful you don't fall in. So let's talk you through the process of how I've chosen this subject. So this is pretty much an ideal setup here for black and white because there's no colour in the scene apart from the greens, so it would look very flat if we ended up with a colour version here. So obviously a boat moored here in the reeds is obviously an ideal foreground subject, even if it was going to be colour. But here what's caught my eye is the shape that leads into the shot, but then it's the mixture of the reflections of the hill and the water and the way the position of the reeds. It's all about line, form and shape here. So I'm trying to balance it between getting the hill around the shape of the reeds, allowing a bit of a gap between the two, allowing the gap with the reflections, and just kind of build up this little scene here so that I know that when all the colour has been removed in the conversion, that it's just going to be the shapes that really make this a composition that works well. Now through practice I have become quite used to visualising a scene in black and white, but if you're new to it and not quite sure, then you can use your camera to help you out. So if you change the picture style for the JPEG, if I mind, to the black and white setting, or monotone as it's called on my camera, and therefore your screen will now show a black and white version of the scene, and in my case it will show up in the viewfinder as well. And that will obviously help you set up a scene and see how it's going to look as a final result. Now obviously these are going to affect the JPEGs only. Your RAW files won't be affected. There'll still be colour and you can change them to black and white as you see fit, but your JPEGs will be black and white and you won't be able to change them back. But if you're shooting in black and white, you can do the process in camera, and often you can change the contrast a bit within the settings. But here, as you can see, it gives you a nice example. You can see how I'm saying about all the lines and the form and the shapes that I'm trying to create for this shot and how it picks up, and it becomes instantly a better picture, I think, in the black and white version compared to where it was in colour. So you can leave your camera set up like this all day and that will help you create some nice black and white images. There's something else you can do in black and white is add a bit more creativity to your shots, especially in the use of filters. So for this shot I really want to add some drama in the sky. We've got a nice bit of cloud going across, but I want to make that more dramatic than it is. So I'm actually using two graduated filters. I've got a 0.6 two-stop soft grad, but I've combined that with a two-stop hard grad as well, which is slightly higher up in the filter holder, because I really want to darken those clouds and make them more defined up there. And that's something you can get away with a bit more in black and white, because when you strip away the colour it becomes a black and white scene. We're not really used to seeing that way, so you can get away with a bit more post-process and you can get away a bit more filter use in the scene, because we aren't used to visualising it that way, so it doesn't feel unnatural. If you try to do that in colour it would seem unnatural and it would show up very easily, but you get away with it in black and white. So I'm going to darken that sky more than it is, and that's going to add a bit more drama to this final shot. Well, my next shot this morning is these group of trees here at the edge of Crummock Water. It's one of those shots you've seen time and time again on the internet, printed everywhere, but it's always nice to come and get your own version, do your own capture of it. The key here, I think, to this one is to try and position those trees between the V shape of the hills on either side. So it's a case of moving back and forth, trying to fit it within that framing. It's very boggy ground here. I'm glad to put my wellies on this morning, and there's a nice convenient rock here to put my camera bag on so it doesn't get lost in the bog. So That's very convenient. It's camera bag size as well. You'd almost think it was being put here. Anyway, so that's my shot. So I'm going to filter the sky, keep the trees quite low in the frame, I think, and have the sky dominating the top half and filter that nicely. And I think it's a shot it's going to work really well in black and white, and it will look quite flat in colour, so ideal for this morning's shoot. Okay, next up, I've moved around a bit more, and I wanted to do a shot looking up the lake. We got the hill in the distance there, the middle one, but it was looking a bit empty. I didn't really just want to do it as a panoramic. So again, I was looking for some foreground that would lead the eye or help fill up the foreground here. And I found these nice little rocks here, really great shaped rocks here. There's individual ones here, but they're pointing out to this way rather than that way. So I'm compromising a little bit, but I really like them because of that dominant shape they have. So I've climbed up onto these rocks here because I wanted to get those rocks there, as you can see, within the shape, the V shape, where there is no reflection of the hill on the other side. That's the reflection. This is the clear bit of water. This is where these rocks needed to be positioned so they don't get lost. So I'm not looking straight down the lake, but I'm looking across here, so it's a slightly different composition. And as you can see, I'm getting a V effect in the distance there on those hills, but doing it as a rectangle, it didn't quite work out as a nice composition. So I've cropped for a square, and I'm keeping this quite tight now. But again, it's all about the shape. You've got the hills coming down from either side, you've got the darker patch, which is their reflection, and then you've got these lovely shaped rocks here, which are being positioned within that V shape of clear water. And it's all about the shape. There's no colour, there's no dramatics there. It's just the form and the shape that's making this composition. Just adding a 6-stop ND just to smooth out those ripples. Now I'm looking for a shot where there's a branch or a part of a tree laying in the water, but I don't think this is the one. A little bit too fussy, that one. Well, I've come over to Buttermere now, and as you can see, it's looking rather splendid this morning. Beautiful reflections, a little bit of light coming through, which I wasn't expecting, but I'm actually quite surprised I'm the only photographer here. It's usually a mecca for photographers, especially if this is a weekend morning. But I'm not here to do this main view as such. I'm heading off round to what a well-known tree around here, which I think will look pretty good in black and white. So here we have the famous Buttermere tree. Again, another shot that you've probably seen countless times before. I've actually shot this myself on a previous occasion, but it kind of suits here because it creates a nice outline here. It's almost like a foreground feature, but quite a tall one, obviously. So the idea here is to capture the shape of the distant mountains there. I'm going to wait for that sun to disappear behind the cloud, which is, I think, drifting across from my right. So it's going to brighten that sky, and so it's going to need a hard graduated filter to bring that brightness down. But it's going to set the tree off to a nice silhouette. But it's just a case of, I think, making it form a shape around this hill here. I don't know what the name of that one is, but yeah, it fits in nicely in that little gap there. That's the first shot I do, but I might also do a second view where it's kind of dead center. I don't know if you can see it under here. so it kind of sits dead centre as a more prominent feature. But again, I'm kind of silhouetting it, and so that suits a black and white kind of shot if you silhouette, using silhouettes. And again, it's all about the shape. So we have the dramatic cloud up there, which is quite bright, but the dominating shape of this tree as a recognisable feature. Well, this is proving to be quite a difficult shot to do, just because I'm still waiting for that cloud to build up a bit more, because it's very bright up there. But I think I'm framing this up as with the tree in the dead centre. It kind of works better there because of that extreme. It needs to be more bold in the picture, but it definitely works better as a black and white compared to colour in this instance, because you can't really see the colours in the distant hills and that. Even with your own eyes, you're squinting to pick up the colours, so the camera has even more trouble. So converting the black and white really does bring the picture down to just the shape of those distant hills, a little bit the dark and light in the reflection in the water, and then that dominating tree. But it's so bright that I'm having to use two 3-stop grads, a soft and a hard, just to try and bring down that brightness of the sky, so we can get a little bit of detail in the foreground. But hopefully I'll get a shot here. Well, I've come around to the head of Buttermere now, and in hindsight I should have done this view before I did the one on the tree, simply because you can see it's clouded up now, which is what I wanted over by the tree, and here I could have done with a little bit of light just to help separate the subjects that I'm trying to shoot here. Plus we seem to have lost all the reflection in the water, but never mind. What I'm trying to do here is, you've got the line of trees across the top end of Buttermere and the little hut in the corner there, and I wanted to place them in the bottom of the frame with the scree coming up above it, plus a little bit of reflection, and just a little bit of side light coming through would have lit up the scene there and helped light the water there. So kind of not going to work here as much, but I'm going to give it a try, but I should have done it the other way around really. Oh, and by the way, I'm not doing a costume change for every shot. It's just getting warmer and warmer as the morning goes on, so I'm changing coats, etc. Well, this one isn't working here, it's just too flat. It really needed the light to come in from the side and light those trees, and have some reflection in the water. Without that, it's just a very dull picture. So use this as an example of not a subject to shoot in black and white. Well, I've moved around from the shot that didn't work, come around the corner, and I've got a shot that works absolutely perfectly. Perfect for black and white, very simple but very effective. You've got the scree coming down from the left hand side, does two little bumps on its way down, and then you've got these two little rocks here in the foreground, large one, small one, which echo that shape. And then you've got the shingle coming around from the right hand side. Again, that echoes the shape of the hills coming down from the right hand side. So when you frame that as a vertical, very simple shape, all about form, no colour, the ideal black and white. The other advantage of shooting black and white is that you can usually shoot throughout the day, because when it's overcast you don't really tell the time of day it is. Plus you can shoot at midday, as it is now, even when it's a little bit sunny, and get away with it. You couldn't do that with colour. Well, I want to finish this shoot today with an example of using texture effectively in a black and white image. I had this idea of finding a fallen tree, dead tree on the edge of the water, which would not only act as a good lead-in line, but have that real nice texture to the bark and the decaying wood. But I was convinced there was one somewhere, but I've looked the whole of Buttermere and Crummock and can't find one anywhere. So I'm gonna have to give that a miss. But as the rain's coming in, I found a slight alternative here, which has been right under my nose because I've been parking in this lay-by a couple of times today, and it's these beautiful, I think they're silver birch trees, I don't know, but they're really nice texture to them, and so that's going to be my finishing shot here because they look really nice in black and white. So not a grand view, but a nice example of texture in black and white anyway. Well, thanks for watching. See you on the next one, where colour will resume as normal.